Despite the anger and frustration on the ground, our armed forces have really been pulling off dangerous and dramatic rescue operations. You were present at one such aerial rescue that had a happy ending, where we had a family from Darjeeling finally reunited.
Well, it was a lucky flight for Pradhan family, Sarah, but the scenes from that sortie that we took were absolutely heartening. People waving at us, trying to bring the attention of the aircraft we were in to them. People in mosque, on the streets, stuck in water, on the rooftops of their homes. Very, very few dry patches we saw during that flight. Pradhan family got lucky. Mr. Pradhan and his son were rescued, and then the plane turned, Sarah. And after the plane turned, the family realized that their wife, the wife of Mr. Pradhan, and his daughter was still left behind. They were there for 4 days. Tourists from Darjeeling, they of course did not imagine that the paradise on earth, the tourist haven, will become their hell. And then, on the request of Pradhan family, the pilots turned that plane around and picked up the daughter and the mother as well. Let's have a look at this report that I filed earlier on the flight that the Pradhan family was desperately waiting for.
Well, a child has just been evacuated by a process called winching. A rope is thrown and people climb onto that rope. A child has just been rescued. We just try to have a word with him. आपका नाम क्या है? सुप्रीत. हाँ, सुप्रीत brother. आपकी family कहाँ है? नीचे. नीचे family. तुमको ऊपर आना है. Yes. On this rooftop, several other people stranded. We're filming them and they're filming us, but not willing to come up, or not trying at least at this moment. Another gentleman is now latched onto that rope, as you can see, and has again, one more person has been rescued here in this aircraft that we are in.
That is my wife.
Your wife is still there?
My wife and my daughter is there. You have to pick them up.
Yeah, but maybe they can go back.
Sorry?
Talk to the soldiers. Talk to them.
Please tell them, my wife and daughter. My wife and daughter.
His wife and daughter are still there.
Sorry?
His wife and daughter.
Let me check.
They are clearly prioritizing the lives of civilians over their own. The entire street are submerged. That we hope is Mr. Pradhan's wife. ये आपका परिवार अभी मिल गया है ऐसा? अभी ठीक है सब? अभी सब ठीक है? कितना आपका लोग है? यात्री का जो था बहुत अच्छा है. उसको थैंक्स करना चाहूँगी. For 4 days, Pradhan family was stuck and they've finally been evacuated. But a lot of other people are stuck, and we sincerely hope that all of them can be brought to safety. But for that, perhaps the water needs to start receding soon and fast. In Srinagar, Anshul Vora, NDTV.
Well, of course, not just the tourists, but also the locals, Kashmiris, have been airlifted and rescued through the boats that are being taken to affected areas by the Indian Army. Now, having said that, where is the state government? State's chief minister did drop some food packets today, and he did speak to the media yesterday saying that the government is taking all measures necessary, and this is not the time to take credit. But on the ground, there seems to be anger now against the state government. We've been here for 4 days. First, when we came here, there was a lot of anger against the army, and that was because the people felt that the army was rescuing people that they wanted to rescue, and that enough was not being done. That remains, but the armed forces of India seem to be bridging the trust deficit, whereas when it comes to the state government, people are raising questions. What is the state government doing? Where is it? This is another report that I filed after speaking to a range of people here in the valley.
The Chief Minister dropping food packets amidst anger directed at his administration. But in parts of Srinagar, the perception towards the armed forces, usually seen as an occupation force, is changing.
CRP वालों 23 battalion CRP
दिया।
इस वक्त सिर्फ आर्मी लोगों का मदद कर रहे हैं और कोई नहीं।
But anger towards the state government may be harder to address, especially just weeks ahead of elections, regardless of what the Chief Minister says.
अगर हमारे उमर साहब यहाँ पे कहते हैं कि यहाँ पे रेड अलर्ट घोषित कर दिया है तो वो खुद प्रिपेयर क्यों नहीं था?
The problem is we don't wear uniforms and therefore if you see us or not, it's one and the same thing. More often than not, the people actually ignored the warnings that were given. The evening before these areas of Srinagar flooded, we had announcements from mosques and from police vehicles asking people to leave and come to higher ground. They willingly ignored these warnings, believing that they were safe where they are. If they had vacated when they were asked to, I wouldn't have had even half the problem that we're coping with today.
In a conflict-ridden state, the armed forces have been seen as a friend by some and as an enemy by some others. So to provide relief and rescue here is many times more difficult. The armed forces are looking at this as an opportunity to bridge that gap. So there is slow recognition of what they're doing on the ground here. But even as more and more boats are flown in and manpower comes in, there just does not seem to be enough on the ground to deal with the mammoth scale of this disaster. But now the Kashmiris here tell us that one entity that's been completely missing from relief and rescue is in fact the state government. In Srinagar with Gopal Singh, Anchal Vora, NDTV.